So while the National Sports Card Convention was going on in Chicago, I kind of had my own national here in the comfort of my living room. So check out this video and I'll explain. So I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit jealous of you guys up there rubbing elbows with the other YouTubers and looking at all the great cards and just the adventure of the hunt and everything that involves the National Sports Card Convention. So I decided that I wanted to do something to kind of celebrate that as well. And I come up with a little game, and I'll explain to you how it goes. So I wanted to get in on the fun too. So what I did is I took the 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, while you guys were at the Nationals, and I set myself a budget. Now I realized that if I was actually in Chicago, I would have a lot more extravagant budget, and because of all the great cards and everything there, and I still had the opportunity to buy good cards, but I set myself a budget nonetheless at $200 for the 4 days. Now, like you guys, I could take that money. I resigned myself to that fact that I could spend all $200 on one card, and this video would be one card, and it would be really short. But I set myself a budget, just like you all. And that was one rule. I had to stick within that budget. I didn't want to go over, just like you guys, and I'm sure most of y'all did. I probably would have too if I was in Chicago. And that was one rule. The second rule was I wanted to get vintage, nothing but vintage, anything from 1980 back, and staying within my budget. And the third rule and the last rule was on eBay, and I did all this through eBay. I had to make offers because you can select auctions, buy it nows, or accept offers. And I wanted to do that because it kind of simulates the go-between between the buyer and the seller. Because there, let's face it, you're going to get some off on those cards. So I wanted to stick to those three rules. And the buy it now was hard and firm. The accept offers was kind of that back and forth between the buyer and the seller. And that's the kind of the experience I wanted to get out of the deal. So like you guys, I had a want list, hit list, so to speak. And I wanted to work on 3 or 4 things. And on that want list or my hit list, I wanted to work on my Mike Schmidt run. I have a few kind of newer cards of his, but I don't work on some of the older stuff. And I also wanted to work on my Nolan Ryan run. I know his cards even some of the older stuff are fairly expensive. And then I also wanted to see what kind of vintage I could pick up, mainly in the areas of Roberto Clemente and Willie Mays. And when you see this video, I think I was a success. So let's flip the camera around and look at day one. So day one was really the toughest. Was I going to spend my $200 on one card, or was I going to make it last all 4 days? So looking around, I looked at several really nice cards for $200. And then I ran across a fairly good deal on this 78 Nolan Ryan. One card I needed for my Nolan Ryan run. And I wish I'd recorded it, but I didn't. The amount that the seller was wanting for this card. So I made a bid for $6, and it was accepted pretty much right away. So that's $6 off of my $200 allowance for my national. And one of the cards that I have been looking at and hadn't pulled the trigger on was this card right here. Another 78, but this time a rookie card of the great Eddie Murray. Man, I've looked at this card and looked at it, and if I can remember right, they were wanting like $15 for this card. And I bid, get this, $8, and it was accepted. Very nice looking card of Eddie Murray. And I was tickled to death to get this card for $8. So now here I'm at $14. So I was going to run with it. Trying to stay at my $50 a day allowance, essentially. So I looked and looked and looked and ended up making a bid on this card and ended up getting it for $34. Now, let me clarify that the price I paid for these does not include tax or shipping, because there's not going to be any shipping if you're at the National. Of course, you have to pay taxes, I'm sure. But I didn't include the taxes and shipping in these. It was technically more than $200, but I didn't include that. So for $34, I picked this card up. A 1972 Willie Mays. And man, look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? That is awesome. I couldn't have been more happier with this purchase. There's the back. Man, look at all those stats. From his New York days through his San Francisco days. Just a beautiful 72 Willie Mays. So in day one, the Thursday of the National, I end up spending $48. So was I going to look for a $2 card or just hold that over to the next day? And I held it over. So day two of the National, this would be Friday. This is one of the days I'm sure was really hopping. So I scanned eBay. I thought, man, I'm going to look for a Roberto Clemente card. And I made a few bids on some, and this one come through and was accepted. The 1973 Roberto Clemente. I ended up paying, switch gears on me there for a second. I ended up paying $30 for this. And man, look at that. That's a beautiful card. I mean, this is the epitome of a vintage card right here. Here's the back. Roberto got his 3,000th hit in 1972. But day two, got a Roberto Clemente for $30. And then, so I technically had, what's that, $22 to play with. And I made a bid, and it was an accepted bid, and I picked up this beautiful Bill Mazeroski, 1967, with a big chaw in his jaw. Big chaw in his jaw. Huh, that rhymes. But look at that. I love this. Guess how much I paid for this? $13. $13 was the accepted bid on this. And man, I was so tickled. Here's the back of that card. One of the greatest second baseman to play the game. And so I had these two cards for a total of $43. So that left me with $9. Did I want to buy a card for that, or did I want to carry that over for the next day? Guess what? I carried it over to day three. So day three, the day three of my National and my hunt for vintage baseball cards came and went. I had made offers upon offers. None were accepted. Some were denied. Most were just kind of pending. And I was really kind of sweating it, because I thought if some of these offers went through all at once, then I would be like way over budget. But I woke up the next morning on the fourth day and I had one offer accepted. And that was for this card right here. The 1961 Bob Gibson. Look at that. Is that not a beauty? And that is just an awesome looking card. And I was tickled to death to get this for the low price of $40. Yeah, I don't know. Did I overpay? I don't know. But I was happy to get it for $40, and that's really all that matters. So with that $40, that put me $21 under budget. So day 4 began with $71 in my pocket. And what could I get for $71? So early on that morning, right off the bat, I made a bid on this. The 1974 Mike Schmidt, his second year card. And it was basically accepted pretty much right away. So I got this card for 20 bucks. And I was tickled to death with it. So 20 bucks for a Mike Schmidt second year card. Fairly well centered, sharp. I love it. I couldn't ask for anything any better. And then I got to looking. So that left me with $51 in my pocket to finish out the National. And the day wore on, and I got down, it was after lunch. I'm pretty for sure of it. And I made a bid on this card right here, and it was accepted after a couple hours. The 1966 Eddie Mathews. Basically, the only guy that I know of that played for all 3 of the Braves teams. The Boston team, the Milwaukee team, and the Atlanta team. Of course, yeah, I don't think this card gets a lot of love because his hat's been airbrushed off. But man, look at the back of that. Look how beautiful that is. You know, backs of cards don't get a lot of love. But man, that is like pack fresh. There's hardly any fading that I can tell. There's just a little ding here on this corner and just a little wear there across the bottom. But man, that is a beautiful card. So I'd got the Mike Schmidt. We'll switch these out here. I got the Mike Schmidt for 20 bucks. I paid $40 for that Eddie Mathews 66 in a 5. The number really doesn't matter to me, but man, look at that card. You can't hardly get much centered than that. It's just beautiful. So I thought, okay, where does that leave me? 71 minus 60. I have $11 left to play with. My math skills are on point today. So I had $11 to play with. And it was, by this time, it was getting late in the day on the 4th day of my National. And I had made some bids on cards, and nothing was accepted. Of course, I was, at that point, being stupid. I was taking cards that were asking 25 bucks for, and I was bidding 10 bucks for them. And as the day closed out, I thought, well, I'm just going to go home with $11 in my pocket. But at the last second, I mean, it was already dark here in Kentucky. It was 9:30. I thought, well, I really gave up, and then my phone dinged. And this was accepted from day 3. Almost, well, right at 24 hours later. This is a card I bid on the day before, day 3. The 75 Schmidt. And look at that. That's beautiful. Now, I know in the past I've kind of railed on 75s, but they have grown on me over the years. Now, this is not a perfect card, but it is to me, and that's all that matters. And there's the back. Once again, just a beautiful, beautiful card. I paid, my offer on this was $9, and it was accepted almost 24 hours later. So that put my final total $3. Is that right? Yeah, $3. No, $2. It put me $2 under my budget. So technically, I come home a winner. Hey, and I know you guys are winners too, because I watched all the recap videos, and man, they were awesome. Just fired me up for card collecting. Once again, real quick, there's my Mazeroski. There's my Clemente. There's my 61 Gibson. I love it. And then last but not least, check it out. The 72. Come on, focus on that. Focus on that. Focus on it. My 72 maze. Man, I just had a blast playing this kind of national game, and it was fun. For 4 days, it was great. So that's all I got, man. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a good time sharing with me my national journey, so to speak. Anyway, guys, take care. Collect what you love what you collect. Keep swinging for the fences and keep on collecting. Until next time, peace.